So today I had a topic that I wanted to discuss, which is looksmaxxing. You see on the internet everyone focused on their looks and trying to optimize themselves to look presentable. This is all so we can get higher status and we can attract a mate. And so, over the past 10 years, looksmaxxing has become critical. Now, don't get me wrong, because I think there is some prudence to look presentable and to look good, because we do appeal to each other visually, and there's influence in our appearance and how we look. And I believe there's a Catholic way of presenting yourself that appeals to the senses, that brings us closer to God. We should be presentable, we should be neat, we should have good posture, we should be aware of how we're coming across to other people. I remember a video that Father Mike Schmitz talked about how we should take care of ourselves. So when we get ready in the morning and we look at ourselves in the mirror, it should be a quick, you put your face cream on, or you put your hair gel on, or you do your hair. Just a quick observation, like, okay, I look presentable, I look good, everything's good, and then just go. Not to get too caught up in staring in the mirror. The longer you do that, that's where you can fall into vanity and obsession. I used to work out a lot, and lifting weights, you want to build muscles. And so you want to look into the mirror and see your growth. But you have to be careful. And it's one thing to look good and feel good about yourself. But when it becomes obsessive, or you build that body dysmorphia, that's where you're separating yourself from God, because you're focused on yourself. There's something that's hard that everyone struggles with, especially as we age, get older. We see more wrinkles in our face, more gray hair, losing hair. For me, you can see my hairline. I don't want to lose my hair. And every day I look in the mirror and I think it's getting worse and worse each day, and I want to get my hair back. But getting in shape is important. You need to stay fit, especially for men, so we can be good protectors and providers for our families. But there is an effeminacy with getting too obsessed with the gym life, gym culture, wanting to look good, want to seen as attractive. Every day I look in the mirror and I see more and more imperfections. I look at younger photos, I see I had more hair, less wrinkles. God has given us grace by having good health in our youth. We're supposed to use that. We're supposed to use our youth and our vitality for God's glory, and not for vainglory. When you're stuck in vainglory, you're stuck in yourself, and you're stuck in comparing yourself to others. And it's a bit delusional, because you start to build ideas in your head. I believe they're called delusions of grandeur, delusions that you are more important than you really are. And so, what do you need when you fall into that trap? You need humility. You need humility and recognition that you are not as important as you think you are. When you pray the litany of humility, it helps you get right sized. It all goes back to the spirit of comparison. I've been watching this channel that popped up into my feed, Hyborian something. It's funny because his videos were from 4 years ago. But he was talking about, he has a bunch of videos. He's a millennial, and he's talking about how millennials have been psyoped. That was really interesting, and I'll link his his channel below. He did a good synopsis of how millennials were robbed as youth. We were pushed all this messaging. We were pushed this messaging of degeneracy through club culture. He brought the example of when you probably had this experience when you were young. You would your school or community would host little dances where they were playing hip hop, degenerate club music. For me, that was the same thing. I went to a Catholic school, and I remember they were playing rap music, and then everyone was like, "Oh, be careful when the priest walks in. He's going to hear all this bad music." Because we knew it was bad, but we liked it. But no one in the school, they permitted to play that music, even though the messaging was sinful. So that was the start to get us into the club culture, and it really took off in our 20s, where all the music celebrated club culture, and that was destructive because we're the product of, well, really our parents' generation was a generation of divorce, and we became the product of that. And now the cycle is repeating where marriage rates are declining, first of all, but the ones that do get married end up getting divorced, single motherhood going up. And we've been psyoped by the programming of the movies, the frat bro movies. There was all these archetypes that they put on us. There was the college frat bro, the wankster white kid who acted black. Then there was the simp nerd. Those were your archetypes for male role models. And they all lead to degeneracy or weakness, effeminacy, I should say. That definitely had an effect on the psyche of the millennial generation. We did not have good leadership or mentorship growing up. We were taught if we were to go to college, we would secure a job. The boomer generation really did instill that in us. I guess there is some truth to that if you knew what you were doing, if you didn't major in a liberal arts degree, and if you got into STEM, engineering, or science. We were a lost generation, and we thought we were important, and we thought we were going to change the world. Couple that with 9/11 and 2008 financial crisis became a recipe for disaster. Most of my friends that I grew up with are unmarried. Very few some have children and are married, but very few. I went to a Catholic school. I don't think anyone in my class that I've kept in contact with is a practicing Catholic today. And I often question myself, I often ask myself, why did God give me the grace? Why did He give me the grace to come back to church, come back to the faith? It was so lost on us growing up. Our parents put us in Catholic schools because they wanted us to have a good education, but they rarely took the faith seriously. The school, the faculty did not take the faith seriously. And yes, we would go to Mass at school. We would do Holy Communion, First Communion, and we would have religion class. I don't really think we learned a lot. At least I didn't. All of it went over my head. I guess the only thing that did save me was going to Mass, seeing the celebration, seeing the Eucharist. I would see the Eucharist, but I did not know what the Eucharist was, truly was. And no one really told me. No one really explained it to me. It was all kind of metaphorical. So then we all go to high school, especially if you grew up in a liberal state or a liberal town, your faith was going to get washed down for the secular world. I ended up going to a public high school, and I was doomed from the start after my confirmation because all I cared about was fitting in, and the way you fit in was drugs, alcohol, and chasing women. And so, yeah, there was the archetypes in high school, just like those movies like American Pie, Road Trip, those early 2000s movies. And then there was Jackass. And then, we grew up on Nickelodeon, MTV, Spring Break, MTV Spring Break. I would come home from school and immediately would watch Total Request Live, and I would see Spring Break, and I'd see these young adults partying in Cancun or some exotic place on the beach. They were drinking, dancing, and partying, DJs and music. That's what we aspired to be. We wanted to be like them. That was our role model. That's what the culture was feeding us. Promiscuity, impurity, and robbing us of our youth. And obviously it's gotten worse and worse, but now the internet has helped younger people see the truth, and they see the destruction in this world, and they're growing up wanting to break free from it. Somehow down the line, I felt like I got saved through God's grace. And maybe it was because I had my baptism and confirmation. As far as I strayed away from the faith, the grace was still there, which allowed me to come back. And if you're in that place, falling away, you can come back too. I have to end this video, but I will pick up on this later.